everybody, it's the Echo Diesel guy with finally another project underway. I've been kind of down in the dumps as of late with the death of my relative, etc. Now I'm, of course, moving on from that point, time to get some projects done, time to get ready for Christmas as early as this date of this video is, because it takes time to get parts together and everything else. And I've got something really special. I've developed an interest in these old, not necessarily old, I should say, but Fairbanks Morris locomotives. They're a little bit different from the Alcos, but they're certainly not cookie cutter GM models. I figured this would be great to run on the Christmas layout this year. So I'm going to work on this, getting this engine up and running. I got this years ago, I think. I think it was from a train show. I can't even remember where I got it. It wasn't from eBay from what I can tell. It's a Long Island Railroad h1644 Fairbanks Morris locomotive built by Atlas. It's the first time this has been out of the box since I've owned it. I believe this is used. I don't even remember how I got it. I'm pretty sure it's from a train show. In fact, another kind of dead giveaway is the fact that it doesn't have all of its padding. Well, here it is on one side, it has the padding. Looks like I may have taken this out or something. It may have been an Amazon buy, now that I think of it, because Amazon had these for sale for a while. Anyway, without further ado, let me carefully try to get all this padding off without breaking the railings. It looks like this wasn't used after all. If it was, it was only tested, I'm sure. Seems to be in good shape. It's DCC ready, not equipped. So today the first step of this project is to see if this thing actually runs. I've got my test track here. And I've got Buzzy set up next to me, so you can probably hear buzzing away. I really have to replace this thing, but it still works, so why not get life out of it, as I always say. Again, I only plug him in when I use him. Let's go now and turn the power on and gently see what happens. Nothing! Oh, it might help if I note, kids, it's a really good idea. And adults, I should say. Or should I say adults, I should say. So note, everybody, you want to make sure you plug in your actual DCC decoder. A quick to note, everybody, you want to make sure you actually plug in your transformer before you actually try to test the locomotive, because that will tenderly make things work better. There it goes. And as you can see, I had the throttle set, and it did move. Runs really nice. Okay, so I have a functioning h1644. Now I'd like to do more than just make it function. I'd like to have it in DCC mode. So I'm going to go ahead and get working on that. I really should try to see if I can find this. I think I got this on Amazon, thinking in retrospect. Although it is weird that it's missing only half the padding. It's almost like someone was here before me. Anywho, without further ado, let's get the top off here. I know I'm going to have to take it off to work on this thing. And here we are. And, oh, this is interesting. There's a decoder installed on this sucker. Did I put a decoder in this thing? Seriously? Or did someone else do it? I don't remember installing a decoder on this, so that's interesting. Very interesting. So very clear this is probably bought at a train show because it has the decoder installed. I don't think I did this. I don't remember doing it, at least. So anyway, without further ado, I think I'm going to now, because this clearly has that NCE decoder in here, or not NCE. I think this is a TCS decoder. I'm gonna go ahead now and try to run it off of DCC, and if it does work, I basically have my project completed. And this video was a little bit too over, and this video is completely unnecessary. I do not remember putting a decoder in this engine, so I'm thinking I bought it like this. It's been so long. It doesn't appear like the shell is properly closed in on this. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna try putting power to it. Yeah, this does not look like it's sealed correctly on the back here. You see how the back is not quite level with everything else? This should be tighter in there. Whoever did this may have not done a great job, and that could have very well been me. But it looks like it's okay. It seems to be working okay. Let's try putting this on the track and see what we get out of it. I would say smoke test, but clearly it's not going to because it worked fine before. Let me go plug her in. Let me actually make sure I have the right plug here. That always helps. Here's the mainline track plug thingy. I'm going to try her at address number 3 and see what happens. This thing will probably take off again at full strength, knowing my luck. Because this thing keeps doing that with address 3. Nothing, so that's good. It's not making noise, so that tells me that there is, in fact, a decoder installed, like I thought. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to try extending my track here. Put this little section here. Nice thing about Easy Track is you can easily put it away when you're not using it. No pun intended. But it does come in handy. Let's go and try to make this thing cooperate. See if I can come up with some kind of assembly here that would work. So I do want to have a curve on this thing to see how it handles that. Okay, it's on the track. DCC system is on. Let's now select... Obviously, it's not responding to address 3 because this is on full blast on address 3. So let's set it to the address that the locomotive is set up. The locomotive is numbered 15. Well, first I got to go to loco. 1508. Loco again to select it. Nope. Actually, no. That's the Digitrax. I got to remember to hit enter here. So 1508. Enter. I've got control. So do we have lights? Nothing. Do we have power? Nope. It could be my DCC system is unhooked. I've been having problems with this thing. The wires keep coming loose on it. This thing has not worked right in a while, if I'm honest. It is on the main tracks. That should be working now. Should. The problem is, isn't. Let's try going to address 3 and see what that does. Maybe I don't have this plugged in right. I remember one of the sides of this maybe not functioning correctly here. Let's try taking it on this side and see if that does anything. Nothing. Let's try and address 3 again. Find out, always go back to address 3. I don't get that at all. That's strange. No response whatsoever. Let's try restarting this piece of junk. Pull the plug on it, put it back in again. See if I can get it to do something here. I mean, it should do something, but it's not doing anything. I'm in right now. Address 3 isn't working. Unless I did 1506. 1508. Let's try 08 one more time. Nothing. Let's try 1506. I bet you that's what happened because my eyes were giving up on me and I put 06 in instead of 08. Nope. Nothing. Nothing. No lights, no response, nothing. Oh, wait a minute. I squeezed it and I got power. Loco again. 1508. Nothing. Let's go to loco 3. That's it. It's on 3. Okay, so by squeezing it a little bit, I got power onto it. And it cut out again. Yeah, this is not in very well. Okay, so very clearly, it does have a decoder in it, is the good news. The bad news is it's not in strong enough to where it'll actually work reliably, which of course is completely unacceptable. I have to have this thing so it can actually run. If it's not going to run, what good is it anyway? I may have to put some solder on this. Let's see if I can avoid that. I almost think I put this together quickly and then just lost interest and stopped on it. Try it again. Install that again. Yeah, it's not doing very much. It seems to be working a little bit better now. Oh, it's not responding. There it goes. Now it works. It's having a hard time turning the motor over when I change directions. I think that's an NCE decoder on here, and these famously do not fit very well. Is this track worn out over here, or dirty? Let's try to see what could possibly... Yeah, it's a little dirty on the curve, so that might be my track that isn't working correctly here. Now that seems to be working okay. So let's see exactly how loose this thing is. Let me pick it up off the track. These boards famously don't fit very well if this is an AM4. I think this is an AM4 on this thing. That's the TCS decoder. Yeah, it looks a little loose for my liking. That's probably what's going on here. This should have spacers put in here to hold it down. See how loose that is? I can move the decoder back and forth, so this is not in there right. So really what I need to do is solder this a bit. So let me go ahead and get some equipment together here. I'm going to go ahead and solder up this decoder and make it fit a little bit better. First step is to start taking it apart. Second step, I want to now take my screwdriver and just pop open all the screws on it. Cheap Walmart screwdriver. Might have find the right one. That's not a flathead. That's a flathead. I mean, it's not a Phillips. I believe that's what I was looking for. Into the cheapy hyper tough screwdriver, which is actually the perfect size and actually the perfect tool. And I'm not exaggerating, to work on this thing. Let's now go a little bit deeper in there and get this thing apart. Take it down to 3. Start with this screw right here. Screw 1 is loose. Screw 2 is loose. I should now be able to just pull this decoder out. Almost now you have to separate things. Let's go out to 1. It's a little bit easier to work with here. There we go. I can now pull it apart. And there is said decoder out of the engine. Sort of. Sitting in there. So what I want to do now is I want to put some solder on all of these connections. No clean flux. Just going to put a little dab on each of these sections here. Make sure this is wet, which it's not, so I'm going to give it a push. A little of this on all 4 of these points here. Let me give it a little bit more light here. Because clearly this isn't looking the way I'd like it to. There we go. My fan tends to block the light, so it doesn't work quite as well as I'd like it to. I put just a little bit there. Now let's see if we can make this all work. The iron is on. And now I'm going to take and just put a little bit on each of these 4 points on here. I'll probably have to zoom in post because I'm having problems with the focus here. Maybe I can get it in now for you. Let's go in a little bit lower. It's a little bit too far. Let's go to 3 even. There we go. That works a little bit better. See if this thing will cooperate now. Of course it's not. Ugh. Focus, please. Stupid camera. And it's just going to have to do... Alright, there it is. Hopefully this stays in focus. Let's go and just work on this because I can't... That didn't work. Let me get a little bit more on this. A little bit more solder on here to smoothen these out as much as possible. I learned in doing this is to keep these patches when you make them with the solder as smooth and as low as profile as possible. You're not looking to take up much space. You're just looking to fill in the gap between the frame and the actual decoder. I don't think this is an NCE. I think this is a TCS decoder. I'm not sure. I have to put this on the system. It might be an NCE decoder. For a while they had that sort of setup where you had these slots like this one has here in the middle where you put the decoder board in. And then, suddenly for whatever reason, the company moved away from that and went back to traditional installs. At least I think they did, if I remember correctly. It's been a while. This is a little bit too much back here. Let's now see if I can get a little of that over here. Didn't like the amount I put on there. Oof. You gotta be very careful with how these things work. I'm gonna have to add a little bit more solder here. I hope I didn't put too much on here. I like to worry about it now, I know, but just add just a teensy-weensy bit more here on that other connection. Very direct with the application. think that'll do pretty well. Let's get this guy in here to the stand. Who's this? And back out to 1. There we go. Let this thing cool for just a second. It doesn't take very long, just a couple of nanoseconds, really. And I'm going to try to see if I can get it back in here now. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and install it. There's no insulation done here because this is insulated with that little plastic divider. There are mixed results with these, but this one apparently works, so I'm going to assume it'll work here again. Trick with this install isn't too hard. You really technically should put these motor contact pickups, which go directly to the motor itself through the holes. But I find you can sort of get away with not doing them. As long as they touch that under section, it'll work. But I prefer to have them in whenever I can, but if it becomes too much of a pain, I may just leave it out. But again, if they don't touch, the motor won't make contact, and you won't be able to control your engine. So that's the one thing to remember on that. So now I'll grab my tweezers and push this in a little bit, or I'll just grab a sponger here and just push this back just a bit here. Let me go with the flat engine so I can get a little bit more leverage on that. You want to be careful not to overbend these too, because if you do too much bending, they'll never go back into shape A or B. Even worse, you can break them. And once they break, it's almost impossible to make it work correctly. That's why I kind of cringe doing these sorts of installs. Let's try going from the edge and pushing this down into position here. See if I can get it into that slot. Still don't even know if this will fit, but yeah, just focusing on trying to get that down. This one here will go in. I see it's grabbing it immediately. It's perfectly set, but this one on the edge here is just not cooperating. So I'm going to try to see if I can scoop it in and kind of coax it to follow the board in. So darn close. Oh, I think I got it now. There we go. I got it. Okay. I just need to coax that in. I think I got it. Okay. So I got that. Now let's see if this thing will fit. I have a feeling it won't. I find these things are very, very temperamental. Let's go now and slide it all the way to the front. See if we can get these 4 blocks in position and just gently push the frame together. I actually managed to keep the contacts in place. This is going almost too easy, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to have a problem here because of that. And that side's in, this side's in. Can I push it in a little bit? I'm not concerned about knocking the solder off the joints, because again, I installed that. Okay, it looks like that actually went in. Just make sure this all lines up correctly. These split frames are usually pretty easy to work on, but they do get a little bit troublesome in terms of getting things to fit just right. Fitting the decoder in is really the biggest challenge on one of these models. See, now the big challenge is to keep it steady in there and not let it move. It's not going anywhere, so it's nice and tight. I can just now get this front to line up correctly, which is kind of bent out. I should be okay. Let me now see if I can screw things in a bit. See if I can use the screws to maybe bend the frame back in, because this looks like it bent out a little bit from the way the decoder was installed previously. Okay, that's in. Let's do the same on the back here. And yeah, I think that's going to work. Let's go now and install our trucks and see if she'll actually work. I'm going to put everything in loosely right now until I know everything works. I dare say I can probably unplug my soldering iron. That's a great way of asking for trouble, but I guess I should do that. Let me pull the plug on that now and turn off the fan so you guys can hear me. I'll leave the fan on for a second because I want to make sure I clear all the stench out of here. Okay, so that's the track right there. Let's put her down. You're not going to see anything yet because I haven't hooked anything up. Let's see now if this thing will actually spin over and work. I think now I have that out of the way, I can turn that darn thing off. Oh, you can hear me now. Don't have to talk over this. I hope that I don't have to edit my audio because of how bad that sound was. Okay, let me go grab now the power adapter for my DCC system, and we'll power everything up and see if this thing will respond to commands. It's now got it's set to note to self. This is on address 3, so it's probably going to take off as soon as I plug it in. Well, actually, the trick is to plug in the DCC system and turn it down. This Prodigy Express I got about 2 years ago now, and it's been funky since I got it. It was okay initially, and then it began to have problems. One time I thought I blew a new locomotive's decoder out, a brand new engine I just gotten was a GP7 from Atlas, a really expensive job, and it suddenly wouldn't work, and I kind of freaked out. Okay, smoke test. Yep, that's a good sign. Let's see if she'll move. Okay, throttling up. Yep, there we go. That looks good. Let's go backwards. Yep, that works. Okay. Oh boy. I managed to knock it off the track. This again was a test for those in case you want to. This had nothing to do with me not being prepared to do this in any way. Never run your test track off the side of your workbench. It's a great way of causing things like that to happen. That's why I did it. It's a public service, really. Things I do for you guys. Ugh. And gals, I should say. Okay, this is twisted on the end here now. That's nice. Let me go mess around with this. Looks like I may have inadvertently twisted that out. Should be sitting flat. I want to make sure that goes in there. There it is. That's better. Okay. I was able to twist that back into alignment. Let's see if she does anything now. Power's on. Okay. So now, let's try this again. Let me move my test track a little bit further over here. Let me get these screwdrivers out of the way. And just test this briefly to make sure that it can go around a curve and not conk out or derail. Turn the power up gently. Oh, stalled. Not because the decoder is loose, it's because of contact issues. Probably the track is a little bit dirty. Also, it helps if you keep your trucks on the track. If your wheels aren't all on the track, you might have problems. Keeping the metal side down. Oh, let me go out a little bit further. You guys might be able to see better that way. All right, there we go. Let's go back the other way. A little rough running, but these things tend to be growlers. They're not the smoothest running things around. Okay, I have to probably do a number on this track and clean it up here because it really is bad right here at the end. Okay, that seems to work. Just let me quickly, for my own sanity, do a quick clean job on this. One of these lens wipes. Again, if you ever need something quick and easy to clean track with, these are probably the ultimate thing to work with. They're great for projects. Just use an alcohol lens wipe. They'll take the dirt right off the tracks. They're all pre-treated. All you have to do is run it across the tracks, and they will take dirt off like you wouldn't believe. Let's try that again. Might need that wipe for something else. Yep, that was the problem. It was just dirty track. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You are beautiful. Oh, no, this one's kind of funky. I may have to work on the contacts on that side. This one's fine, so that's fine. The rear truck, which I believe that is got a problem. So let me go work on this now a bit. That's why I put the trucks in loosely here so I can clean things up. I'm going to use my alcohol wipe on these 2 contact points. Tempted to put a little conductive lube on here, which would probably help it out. Because that lubricates as well as enhances conductivity, also cleans surfaces up. Let me see if I have a little of that handy. I might just put a little bit down just to see if we can clean things up just a little bit better for this to work as effectively as it possibly can. Okay, let's now try one last thing. The problem is now my drawer is filled with this junk in here. Well, I found what happened to this. It actually started spilling out on my... inside my drawer. The top broke off of it, so let's go and just quickly apply a little of it here. Just a teeny tiny dab on there and just spread it around. Bit there. I got to now go and clean up this other mess right here. Ugh. Do that in a second. Okay, let's put the truck back on and test her one more time. Let's also seal these things tightly as well. Because they were kind of loose. I'm going to turn this as tight as I can to make it all work. Okay, reverse again. Still working, that's definitely a plus. Let me now also check this. Check using the light as a reference. Oh yeah, look at that. No problems at all now. Slight hesitation there, but yep, it's much better. Okay, so that was just that. It was bad contacts. So with that, I've fixed this. Let's see if I can get the top back on. That would really be cool, wouldn't it? Let's see here. I've got my top for this engine right here. Let me actually also... Oh, where did I put that other part here? I was trying not to lose, which I probably did. Oh, I hate that. Oh, here it is. This is the headlight deflector. What you mean? Who's this? Very necessary if you want the headlight to actually come out of the front of the locomotive instead of around the cab. I mean, you might want the cab illuminated too, but then you won't get as much light out of the front. If I'm going to do it this way, I might as well go all the way and make it work. I think it goes actually backwards. If I remember correctly on these things. This is kind of a weird assembly. Yeah, I think that's how it goes in. Ah. Let's just do it without that because I just... Ugh, yeah. Just figure out how this shell is supposed to go on and then work with it from there. That's the problem, is that the shell is not... That I didn't get this thing tight enough and it won't go in now. Oh, so close. It's stuck right there. Ah! All the ridiculous things I go through, all the trouble I get, everything done, and then something like this holds me up from finishing the project, of course. Why would it go so easy for me? Why would that actually happen? Just trying to figure out how that would go in. Ah, there it is. Ha ha ha! Got it. So it does go in. I did get this thing closed. At least now I did. Let's now try one last time to get this in place. So this is how it goes in. I'll leave that shell oriented like that and see if I can figure out how to make this thing fit. Or how it should fit, at least. Yeah. This is not quite in right. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to go. I'm assuming because We're trying to deflect the light to go up instead of out. If I can't get this thing in, I can't get it in, although it's annoying that I had it in before and it wouldn't go in now. Wait a minute. Oh, I think I got it. Will it go down? No, of course not. So close. Won't go in. Yeah, this thing isn't going to let it sit. I don't know why it doesn't like that. I can never get these things back in when I do a decoder install, it seems. I don't know why, it just doesn't work. Is it supposed to go that way? I guess it could go that way, but then what purpose would this serve? It doesn't do anything. Yeah, I think I'm just going to leave that off. I'm only going to mess things up. I don't know why I can never get those back in, but I'm not going to ruin a plastic shell over that. Calling it right there. Can I see if I can get this thing in now? No, oh, there it goes. Okay, it's in. Let's put it back on the track, test it one last time. No shorts, I hope. Nope, it's working. I also note that the lights on this are not set up for it. I noticed it has all three lights on the back. These Fairbanks Morse engines had these unique lights. They had a classification light and a standard headlight. I'm noticing they're all going off at the same time. But that's probably because this decoder, there's no specific decoder design for this to work like that. I may have to look and see if there is one that would let this work like that. I have this one in there. It does work. Okay, so this is working very nicely. Okay, so with that, I have completed this project. So that's going to do it for this little video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. Please like and subscribe. And as always, keep the metal side down. As for this engine, I'm going to get it all packed up and ready to go on the Christmas layout this year, which is where I plan to use it next. Just slip it right in there. And put the top on. And we are golden on that.